Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Blockbuster Breakdown. We are talking all things trailers, Super Bowl TV spots with movies such as Avengers, Endgame, Hobbs and Shaw, Toy Story 4, and much, much more. Stick around, we will be right back. Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Blockbuster Breakdown, this show where we talk all things blockbuster movies. I am Liam Crowley, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host, Mike Gillis. Mike, what is going on?
What's up, guys? I'm ready to get into these Super Bowl trailers. We didn't get a lot, but what we got, I think, is still very of substance.
Absolutely. So, on this show, as I mentioned before, we talk blockbuster movies, and we define blockbuster on this show as any movie that has that mainstream appeal and typically is based on extensive source material. One of those movies that once you just see the trailer alone, you go, oh man, I gotta see that right now. I don't want to wait any longer, but they typically release their trailers 7 to 10 months in advance just to tease you with all that good stuff. And like I said, on today's show, we are going to be talking all things trailers. No news this week, just trailers, because we had so many dope TV spots drop this past Sunday during the Super Bowl, and we also got some nice full-length trailers as well during the past week. But as always, we are going to kick off today's show with the weekend box office update. And Mike, before I even read you the top 5, there is not much to talk about with the weekend box office, but we are going to get with it anyways. All right,
Let me guess, is Glass number 1?
You are right. Coming in at number 1 is Glass, making $9.5 million, dropping 49%. Coming in at number 2 is The Upside, making $8.67 million, dropping 27.3%. Coming in at number 3 in its debut week is Miss Bala, making $6.8 million. Coming in at number 4 is Aquaman. We love to see it, making another $4.8 million, dropping 32%. And rounding out the top 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, making $4.5 million, dropping 25%. So, Mike, with a box office weekend in the top 5 alone totaling no more than $40 million, what do you take away?
Well, I'm going to say January is finally over. At least we're finally made it to February, so hopefully we can see a more diverse box office. But I definitely will see. I don't know if we're going to see Glass number 1 next week. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. We do have some new movies getting released in February. It's basically the first weekend of, well, actually the Lego movie, the second part, is coming out this weekend, and that was a box office smash in the first one. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that take a big spot. Also, How to Train Your Dragon 3 comes out February 22nd. That's going to be a big hit for sure. It's already come out elsewhere in the world. And then apparently Escape Room January 4th. But that has eclipsed.
That's at number 9 right now.
Yeah, but it's made $96 million on a $9 million budget. So pretty successful run for Escape Room. But yeah, looking at worldwide box office in 2019 alone, we see How to Train Your Dragon 3 already earning $85 million before it even hits the United States. And that's one of those sneaky trilogies, Mike, kind of like the Apes trilogy most recently, that a lot of people are considering to be in the conversation for one of the better new franchises we've got in the 21st century.
Yeah, definitely. Those How to Train Your Dragon movies have been coming out for such a long time, too. They really take their time with them. They don't rush them out like a Despicable Me or a Minions, you know. They really do take their time with those movies. When did the first one came out? Like, I'm gonna guess. Geez, I'll look it up right now, but I'm gonna guess 2013.
Yeah, the first one. Let me see. How to Train Your Dragon 2 came out in 2014.
Oh, 2010. Wow.
So yeah, they definitely took their time with this trilogy. This third one coming out 4.5 years after the second one. So yeah, they were not in any rush to pump out these movies. A lot of trilogies,
9 years from the first.
A lot of trilogies these days only do 2 years in between. But How to Train Your Dragon, I like what you said there. They're not in the league with Minions or Despicable Me. They take their time. They want to produce a good movie at heart, and these movies have been successful in the past. So look for How to Train Your Dragon 3 and the Lego Movie 2 to take over the February box office before we get into March and April, when the big budget movies start to come out, a la
I
Captain
also
Marvel and Endgame.
Happy Death Day 2 is also coming out, and that was a surprise box office hit when it came out. So maybe we'll see this that one up there too.
I mean, Happy Death Day 2 only exists because the first one was so financially
Yeah.
successful. So, yeah, not much to talk about with the weekend box office. But, yeah, look for February to earn a little bit more than January. Not a crazy amount to set it apart, but definitely will get on the track all the way till April when we're going to see movies start to hit six figures in their opening weekends.
Definitely.
All right, so we're going to move on to our first Super Bowl TV spot, and I couldn't think of a better one to start with than the one we saw first, actually. It aired, I think, even before kickoff, Avengers Endgame. Now, Mike, when this TV spot hit, the first 2 seconds alone is a flash of everyone, all the main characters that passed during the snap that got dusted away, and then that Marvel Studios logo came up. And as a Patriots fan, I was nervous going into the game. Obviously, kudos to the Pats for winning, but this TV spot grabbed my attention, and for 30 seconds, I forgot completely about the Super Bowl, and my eyes were glued because this TV spot, in just 30 seconds alone, no action shots, just character work, and it was beautiful. I cannot emphasize how much I love this TV spot. I'll get into more of the details in a second, but I want to get your reaction to the Endgame TV spot.
Yeah, I definitely loved seeing everyone who was snapped away. The color red, very important in those snaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what really got me is this idea that we're dealing with the aftermath. Because in Infinity War, well, even in the first teaser trailer, we just kind of saw flashes of all the characters. In Infinity War, we got to see quick, short reactions from our characters when people got dusted away. And we're dealing with so many characters in Infinity War that it was hard to focus on a few. Now the fact that we're down to, I believe, less than half the cast that was in Infinity War. Obviously, we will likely see the full cast by the end. But now that we're down to half the cast being main characters, we get to focus on the individual characterization. And I love that this trailer shows like Captain America at a support group. Where do we go now that they are gone? That kind of stuff, just it's amazing because it shows that these big budget blockbuster superhero movies, they're more than just the action. They have beautiful character work.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It took me a little bit to realize that he was actually at a support group for just citizens, and he's not even souped up. He's just in a t-shirt. It's really like, what else are we gonna do now? Like, there's no more time to be like a superhero. It's just time to be a regular old hero.
Yeah, absolutely. We also see quick shots. It's easily missed, but we see Citi Field, the home of the Mets, with the grass overgrowing on the dirt part of the baseball field, showing that some time has definitely passed. Around the stadium, we see the parking lots flooded with cars, showing people just parking their cars and leaving them there. Hope is lost. We see the Statue of Liberty with all those boats around flocking there. And then a great shot, a kind of a generic shot, but I loved how they articulated it. It showed the skyline of New York City, the city that never sleeps, Mike, and all the lights are out.
Like, yeah, it's truly an apocalyptic situation that's gone on.
The imagery in just 30 seconds was beautiful, and then I love the tone of hope. Captain America narrates, and he says, "Some people move on, but not us, not us." And we see Tony Stark and Nebula hard at work in, I believe, is it the Milano?
Yes, that's the name of the ship, yes.
Yeah, they're hard at work. Complete opposite from what we saw in the Avengers teaser trailer, in the Endgame teaser trailer, where Tony was basically counting down the minutes left he had living. We also see Captain America suit up. We see him tighten that shield. He's got his shield back. War Machine and Ant-Man both pull down their masks. Mike, my excitement is at an all-time high, and we've only had about 2 minutes of footage.
I'm very happy they're not showing us a lot, though, because I do not want anything spoiled. I mean, I've read all the theories. I know what people think what's going to happen, but I also know Marvel, and they're always one for a surprise. So I'm really looking forward to some crazy way they're going to undo what Thanos has done. because we know they're going to do it, but we don't know who's going to come back. We don't know how they're going to end up doing it. We don't know who's not going to come back, who's already not snapped. So, like, I do think we might see the end of Cap in this movie. I feel like this is going to be his swan song.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts me to say it, but it seems like right now this is Cap's movie, and I don't want to say his story is over, but he's had one of the most complete character arcs in the MCU. Like, where do you go with him after this movie? One thing I also wanted to touch on is it seems like we are getting closer and closer to the realization that this movie could be 3 hours long. Most people will roll their eyes at that. Me, I will sit in this movie theater for 5 hours. This is the culmination of 22 films. Take your time. Don't force it. Don't cut out integral scenes just to abide by a typical movie length of 2 to 2.5 hours. Let's keep it at 3 hours.
I completely agree with that. As long as the movie is entertaining, and of course it's gonna be, why not watch more footage? Yeah. Especially with like characters who we might not be seeing in another movie.
Absolutely. The Russo brothers, we saw their first MCU movie was The Winter Soldier, which is my favorite MCU movie. Beautiful character work done in that film when they have a limited amount of characters. Like I referenced earlier, now since we only have half the characters, I think this is going to be a very character-driven piece. There will be action set pieces, obviously, because this is Marvel, and it's a superhero movie at the end of the day. But I think it's going to be very character-heavy, and that's something I'm very excited for in the MCU.
Yeah, plus we have Hawkeye as Ronin now, right?
Yeah, he looks like he's going to play an integral part in this movie.
Which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how he deals with everything. All right, do you have any final thoughts on the Avengers Endgame trailer, or are we ready
like I said before, I mean, this is going to be an event, like more than a movie, just an event.
All right, well, Avengers Endgame stars Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Jeremy Renner, all our original Avengers, and likely a few more. We'll see what happens on April 27th when this movie comes out. All right, moving on now, we are going to go to the Toy Story 4 TV spot. Now, Mike, I actually missed this one during the big game. I had to watch it again on YouTube. I must have just either been in the bathroom or not been paying attention.
I believe it was after the game.
It was after the game? Okay. I saw this on YouTube after the fact. I was entertained, but it didn't really give much. So, what were your thoughts about Toy Story 4?
It wasn't really a trailer. It was more like a little sneak peek, a little TV spot. But it looked pretty funny. They put up Buzz in the carnival. I don't know if that's going to be the main setting of the movie, but the toys they always get lost, and they're always going to be found at the end. But they brought Bo Peep back, and she looks different from the original, definitely. That might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. We don't know yet. But I'm sure it's going to be good. Disney doesn't make bad movies. Well, that's not true. But Pixar doesn't make bad movies. So I think this is going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, Tom Hanks did say that he cried after reading this movie, after reading the script, or it was either reading the script or recording his final voice spots. And so I don't know if this is confirmed to be the last Toy Story movie, but it's going to be emotional. And Toy Story 3 is actually my favorite Pixar movie ever made. So if this is anything like Toy Story 3, I might need to bring a tissue box to the theater.
True.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be funny. It's got some jokes in it. So.
Yeah. This TV spot, very similar to the teaser trailer we saw, might not even be footage we even see in the final movie because Pixar is smart, almost similar to Avengers at this point. Only in the light that they know they don't need to give away a ton of footage to sell the movie.
100% true. This movie is going to be sold completely on the fact that there wasn't supposed to exist. Toy Story 3 was supposed to be the last, and more money, so let's make another movie.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, going back to Toy Story 2, that was supposed to be direct to DVD, believe it or not, and that's why it took so long for us to get a Toy Story 3. I believe it was 7 or 8 years. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, when the Toy Story franchise was first brewing, it was not intended to be a staple of Pixar, and looking at it now, easily one of the most profitable franchises they have, even though they don't want to be in the business of franchise